Hey guys, you may notice that I'm in a different spot today, knowing that we are going to be off of school until the end of April. I decided I need to have a space in my house that I could close the door and keep Dawson out. So I set up a little desk area, you can see here, in one of our spare bedrooms so that when he goes down for a nap, or when he's up playing and I need to teach a math lesson, I can close the door and keep his little rotten butt out of here. I'm here to read Mustaches for Maddie. We are on chapter 25, and you may notice whenever I read to you guys in the classroom, I always go back and read what happened last, so then we know exactly where we left off. And I've read 3 books since we have been home during this quarantine. And I noticed that every time I pick up my book, it's something that I do. I go back to the last chapter I left off and I just read the last few paragraphs to refresh my memory. So the last thing that happened was, let's see. Oh, they were playing the game Poison Dragon Deathclaw. And Maddie decided she doesn't care what Cassie thinks about her anymore, and the 5th graders joined and they were having a blast at recess, and she said Cassie was watching her and she didn't care what she thought. So Maddie's really kind of taken a turn for what I would think to be the better. She's really growing up and maturing. Chapter 25 is called Over the World. Mountains passed beneath me, pyramids, the ocean, and I felt the movement of going up over the peaks and down by the water. Locked in and holding tight, I was hang gliding over the Great Wall of China. And this wasn't my imagination. Okay, just a little bit. It was a ride on Disneyland. Well, actually in California Adventure, the other Disney park close to Disneyland. I sat in this chair that moved in front of a giant screen, and it totally felt like I was flying over different parts of the world. Awesome. I went from ride to ride with my family. Then in the afternoon, my parents let me and Christopher go off together and ride whatever we wanted and meet back for dinner. Everyone was so happy, and my dad took all sorts of pictures, me with Christopher, me with Daisy Duck, me with the twins, both sticking out their tongues, me with some princesses, and me and my mom eating Dole Whips. Dole Whips. Sooner than I wanted, we were back in the condo we had rented, crashing for the night. At least we still had 2 more days of vacation, away from school, away from problems with Cassie, and especially away from neurosurgeons. But even with all the running around all day, I couldn't fall asleep. And even with all the good memories I just made, I kept thinking about my tumor. I lay in bed and tried to think about anything else, tried to make myself fall asleep, tried not to worry about the monster coming for me. Had it gotten bigger? Sprouted spike-like axe blades down its spine? No, I didn't want to think about it. I tried to sleep for a long time. Maybe during the surgery, the doctors would tap into a special part of my brain that would give me superpowers for real. Like I'd be able to move stuff with my mind and see the future. Or maybe I wouldn't. I yawned, but I didn't feel close at all to actually falling asleep. I thought about my friends. I reviewed all of my lines as Juliet. Then I tried to remember all of Romeo's lines too. I pictured Devin in different colored mustaches. And then my door opened. I made sure my eyes were closed. I didn't want my parents knowing that I wasn't sleeping. I peeked the tiniest bit through my eyelashes. There was just enough light coming in from the hallway that I could see. My dad. He had probably been staying up late trying to get his work done. At this point, the book was ready, but he had to work on marketing. He was answering questions for interviews and doing a bunch of social media stuff to help people find out about his book. I don't think he was planning on sleeping much, but with all the work he had to do, why was he in my bedroom? He stood over me for a second and knelt down beside my bed. He lightly put his hand on my arm. I could tell he was trying not to wake me. And then he bowed his head. He was like that for a long time, a really long time. My heart filled. It was one of those huge reservoirs. It was overflowing, flooding over. And he stayed there. I was starting to wonder if he had fallen asleep when he sniffled. A few minutes later, he stood up, then slowly left the room. I want you guys to think right now, what was her dad doing? And how would you feel if you were in her situation? I put my hand where my dad's had been. Wet. Tears. I know it's going to sound stupid, but I put my finger in it and then touched my head. Maybe that was it. Maybe they were magic tears and could heal my tumor. Maybe they would work. Can't sleep? I heard Mom ask. I was busted. Wait, nope, she was just talking to my dad. Oh, just getting some more work done, he said. He had left the door open between our rooms, so I could hear them pretty well. Well, this vacation is fantastic, Mom said. Everyone is having a great time. Yeah, Dad said. Now we just need my book to do well so I can actually pay for it. I didn't realize that we didn't have the money for the trip. But it's worth it, my mom said. We need this. I agree, he said. And if something goes wrong, we'll have good memories and lots of pictures. Though my heart was still full like a reservoir, it grew stormy and wavy. That's why he'd been taking so many pictures? In case I died or I got brain damage or something? That way they could remember this good time, remember me? I hadn't even thought of that. Do you? My mom started to say, but then stopped. She took in a deep breath and then started again. Do you worry that we might lose her? My dad sniffled. Yeah, I've got to believe that good stuff is coming, that we will be blessed, but I worry all the time. For some reason, hearing that my mom and dad were worried hurt a little. They had taught me so often that I had to think about the good, the positive, but in a strange way, it also helped to hear that they were scared too. It felt normal, at least a little. I wake up sometimes, Mom said, when you go into her room. Do you do that every night? Every night, he whispered back. I had no idea. I guess there were lots of little tear puddles that happened that I hadn't noticed. I just like to see her and make sure she's okay. It's a lot for a little girl to handle, he sniffled. And I pray. Me too, Mom said. Me too. I don't know what I'll do if we lose her. My dad's voice was soft. I felt squishy inside, really squishy, and terrified. Even Disneyland wasn't going to fix that. And that's the end of the chapter. And if we were in class right now, you all would be screaming, no, one more. And you would trap me into one more chapter. But I'm looking at the time on my phone and it's 8 minutes and 26 seconds. And YouTube is going to take forever to upload this. So I will read another chapter tomorrow.